My boyfriend, the one I'd loved for years, had amnesia, and he forgot all about me. No matter how hard I tried, he couldn't recall our memories. He even thought I was crazy. Then, I accidentally overheard a phone call between him and his best friend, and everything became clear. There's no amnesia. I just wanted to spice things up and watch her squirm while I hook up with other girls. My heart sank, and I broke up with him. Then, I agreed to a risky brain surgery that could cause amnesia. 1. Mark didn't even flinch when I broke up with him. He was playing the amnesia card, so he wasn't supposed to remember I was his girlfriend. I was packing my stuff at his place when he got back from the hospital. He had some blonde, cute girl hanging off his arm. That must be his thrill, I thought, already moving on right after leaving the hospital. Why are you in my house? Mark said, playing the innocent card. I knew you can't wake someone who's pretending to be asleep. But the girl, she piped up, he dumped you. She's just grabbing her stuff. Mark snorted. I don't remember any love stuff with you, but if everyone says so, fine. Whatever. Just don't try to sneak anything out. If it's not yours, don't touch it. His coldness was spot on, like he really did forget me. If I hadn't heard that call with his bro. If he didn't like me or wanted to split, he could have just said it. I wasn't the clinging type, I would have left quietly. But no, he had to make a show out of it, making everyone play along. It felt like a fly got into my cereal bowl. Gross. I didn't feel like calling him out. Just said, it's not mine, I don't want it. I kept packing, with the two of them acting like prison guards, watching my every move. Every now and then, they'd start with the flirting, even making out right in front of me. Things he used to do with me, he was now doing with a new chick. Like he said, it probably got him off more doing it in front of me. I packed fast, it was just a few clothes and some jewelry anyway. I swallowed my feelings, shook the bag and said, hey, Mark, wanna do a check? He shot me an annoyed look and said, just get out, you're bugging us. My heart squeezed and I teared up. Heavy feet carried me out the door. Once I rounded the corner, I let my tears fall. My phone rang. MS. Johnson, since you're decided, come to the hospital ASAP. We need to talk about your surgery. 2. I told my doctor I was up for the surgery before I broke up with Mark. I'd been getting terrible headaches and couldn't sleep. Turns out I had a tumor, thankfully benign. If it was left too long, it could get worse, according to the doc. The surgery was risky, though. The doc warned I could have amnesia, forgetting things. I was hesitant before. I didn't want to forget Mark, like he forgot me. But after I learned he was playing games with me, my decision was clear. I'd rather live without him than live with him. Plus, maybe I could cut the love-struck part of my brain while they were in there. The surgery was fast-tracked, but it was expensive. I needed to make some serious cash. I was an artist and photographer. I made a good living out of it. But I was living in New York, and those paychecks weren't piling up. As I got to the ground floor, I ran into Mark, and his arm candy, Tiffany. Sarah? What are you doing at a hospital? Are you sick? He frowned a little. I was confused. Wasn't he supposed to be playing amnesia? Why was he caring all of a sudden? I didn't want to get into it. Just visiting a friend, I mumbled. What friend? He caught himself and shut up. But that look in his eyes was searching, suspicious. I almost laughed. Dude, get a role in a soap opera, why are you doing this to me? Tiffany wrapped herself around Mark. Honey, you canceled a huge meeting to come with me for my checkup. Are you sure it's alright? What a lame move. She was trying to show off for the ex-girlfriend who broke up with her. Did she really need to do so much? It was so cringe it was giving me a migraine. As I went to leave, Tiffany cut me off. Sarah, you look pale. You must have some awful sickness you're embarrassed about. Why don't you come over later? Mark's making me some homemade chicken noodle. You can have some too. I wrinkled my brows and stared at Mark. I was his live-in girlfriend for almost 2 years, and I never had his soup. I thought he didn't cook. Seems like he just never found anyone who he deemed worthy of his cooking skills. Excuse me, I've got to go. I brushed past them. What's the rush? You haven't had Mark's soup, he is so good at it. She kept following me, grabbing my arm. Got some place to be? We could give you a ride. Her neediness rubbed me the wrong way, my head was pounding. I pulled my arm back. She crumbled like a cookie and started to cry. Sarah, I was just looking out for you. Why would you hurt me like that? I stared at the sky, so clear and bright. Today wasn't going to rain, because she got me so annoyed. Are you trying to start something? Mark asked as he went to comfort Tiffany, voice icy. This fall was so fake, it was worse than a B-rated movie. Could he really not see that? Are you serious? She just had to trip while I pulled my arm away, I said, my voice calm but cold. Mark's face flushed with anger. His stare could cut me. Liar. Apologize to Tiffany, or you'll see what happens. With Mark in her corner, Tiffany was smirking, a mix of satisfaction and malice. 3. Mark, being the rich, connected guy he was, could absolutely make my life hell. He could end my career and make sure I couldn't live in this city. I forced down my anger. Some bystanders were taking pics of me, even saying horrible things. What's wrong with her? She got some serious issues. Must be a single loser who's jealous. A total basket case. Their words were making my blood pressure spike, my head pounded more and more. Tiffany started playing the victim. It's alright, honey. It's probably her feelings, it makes her do crazy things. She must have been so sad when you broke up with her. The crowd got louder with their hate speech, calling me names. A man even yelled, slut dot. Will you apologize? Mark stared at me, his eyes full of warning. I had to bite the bullet and said, I'm sorry. I was in the wrong. My body was shaking, the emotions were taking over. Mark's eyes shifted to a strange look, a mix of confusion and something else. Can I go now? He said nothing, but I turned and ran. Sarah. I could hear him calling me, his footsteps getting close. But he didn't catch up. Another voice was more important. Honey, I'm dizzy. Can you help me? Yeah, right. These people should be working in Hollywood, not my personal life. I am so done with them. 2 days later, my boss landed me a huge gig. Not only did I have to shoot photos, but I had to paint a portrait too. I was the only one at the studio who could handle that. Plus, the client was paying top dollar, way more than my surgery expenses. I said yes immediately. Turns out, the client was Tiffany. She found the studio just to have me paint their portrait and do their photo shoot. My job was to shoot them as a couple and make a romantic painting. 4. Time was moving fast. I was packing up my gear at the beach. I fell into my instincts, knew the best angles to bring out Mark's good looks. I can make any picture look flawless when he's in it. All I needed was a solid base, the poses would come easily. Hugging, kissing, gazing into each other's eyes. The shoot was smooth. I was a robot, clicking the shutter, capturing their cheesy love. My heart was a dried up well. No ripples, no waves. When we finished, they wanted to pick the photo for the painting. Tiffany scrolled through the photos. You're really good, Sarah. And so calm. It's like it doesn't bother you at all. I could feel the insult in her words, but hey, it was just work. I'm glad you guys like them. Mark and Tiffany picked a shot of them holding hands, smiling into the sunset. We'll have it as an oil painting, said Mark. I glanced at Mark, just for a second. My first photo with him was the same sunset. We were both so shy then, but it was honest and so pure. I wondered if he still had that photo. Doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with me now. I packed my equipment, hailed a cab and went home. After I finished the portrait, I could get the surgery. What would I forget? I hoped it would be him. I didn't want to hurt anymore. I never wanted to think about him ever again. 5. Tiffany kept calling, in a rush. She would put the phone on speaker, so I could hear Mark's sweet talk as he spoke to her. He would act like a puppy dog while talking to his new girlfriend, so eager to please her. While I was painting, his image kept flashing in my mind, from his curled eyelashes to his hair blowing in the wind. The clearer the image, the more my head throbbed. I had to take painkillers to stop myself from hitting the wall. The sunset was so vibrant, the colors were a nightmare. It was taking me forever to mix, blend, and apply the paints. For 5 days, I didn't sleep. I ate instant ramen. I was a mess. Finally, I put on the last touch, staring at the painting. In my oil painting, Mark's smile wasn't the same as the photo, but it was mixed with my memories. Every brushstroke was perfect. I sighed, and leaned back, closing my eyes, wanting a little peace. My phone buzzed. Ring. Ring. Of course, it was Tiffany. Ms. Johnson, is the painting done? It's the deadline tomorrow. If you don't deliver on time, we'll deduct your fees. I coughed lightly, my throat raw. Ms. Tiffany, the painting is finished. When is convenient for you to come pick it up? She sounded surprised. How about now? Just bring it to our place. I agreed. I hung up. I took a lot of time packing the painting. It was still wet. As I stood, my head spun, my legs gave out. I grabbed the table, shaking my head. After this painting is done, I'm gonna rest. I let out a weak laugh. I'm painting a portrait of my ex and his girlfriend, delivering it to them. I have gone through so much. I needed to start living, now. I took the painting and went to a cab, telling the driver the address. I leaned back and passed out. The taxi drove the familiar route, the car stopping at the gate. Ma'am? We're here. The short break made me more tired. I paid the fee and walked to the door, hand trembling to push the doorbell. Ding, dong, ding, dong. The ringing went on and on, but no one answered. I could feel my heart pounding, a warning sign. Finally, the door opened. Tiffany in her silk pajamas, hair still wet from her shower. Sorry, Sarah, we were busy, she smiled, her smugness impossible to hide. I didn't care. No problem. I didn't wait too long. I gave her the painting, and as she turned I saw Mark, only wearing a towel. I managed to say, I hope you like it, my voice barely a whisper.